It's safe to say that Assassin's Creed 3 has been one of the most heavily anticipated games of 2012, not just from its fans, but from all players alike. But with that in mind, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news being that Assassin's Creed 3 has a great combat system. It's seriously awesome. It also has very impressive graphics, and is one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a while. The voice acting is also top notch. But it isn't all amazing. The storyline isn't that great, and the pacing is very off. And I don't just mean a tad slow to begin with, I mean very dull. The game starts off at a good pace as you play as Haytham Kenway, and you have to assassinate someone in an opera house, but from then on it got very dull. At one point my objective was, go on the deck, walk to the east, return to your cabin. This would happen 2 or 3 times. You spend a long time as Kenway, considering he isn't even the main protagonist, and that spot goes to the very interesting, and not dull at all, Rudin Hugaden, or as he's otherwise known, Connor. Connor is probably my least favourite assassin. Nothing holds up to the suave and dangerous Ezio Auditore. He actually has a character, unlike Connor, or most of the people in Assassin's Creed 3 for that matter. The story of Assassin's Creed 3, when you finally get to the meat and potatoes, is about 2 hours in, when you start to play as Connor, and it is set during the American Civil War, and you get to interact with key parts of the war yourself, which is really fun. But Connor's main focus is eliminating the Templars, and most of all, killing Charles Lee, the man responsible for setting his home ablaze, resulting in the death of his mother. Now, I don't have a problem with this, as we actually get to see Connor's troubles as we play as him as a kid for a time, and actually, we have to run through his burned down home and try to save his mother. My problem is that aside from this, Connor is never really expressed that well. He seems more focused on fighting for others, and he becomes the cliched, naive hero. Charles Lee himself, when he's introduced, is a polite, well-spoken person put under Kenway's command, but fast forward 10 or so years when he's a Templar, he's a massive douche. I found this sudden change in character a little hard to believe, but once you get into Connor's story, the game becomes really awesome. The combat and freerun mechanics are the best it's ever been in an Assassin's Creed game, and the final sequence is awesome, until you get to its f***ing god-awful ending with Desmond. Speaking of Desmond, the game occasionally pulls you out of the Animus and gives you some modern day levels as Desmond. They were right, but some of them felt very tedious and boring. The best by far was when you take the fight to Abstergo themselves. All Desmond levels seem very short though. Oh, and Desmond's hidden blades are awesome. The gameplay is of course usual Assassin's Creed standard. Guards aren't the brightest, although the AI has improved in this one, and like I said before, combat is amazing. I got a kick out of combat every time. It didn't feel like a dull chore to engage my foes. I wanted to. Killing my own people has never been so satisfying. The one major bad thing about the gameplay though is the horses. They are a pain in the arse in this game. They're slow, unable to jump over gaps or from the tiniest heights. They feel very redundant. I often just thought, screw this, whilst on a horse, and climbed off into the trees to reach my destination. Not only was this quicker, but also fun. Aside of this, your usual set of minor bugs, that to be expected. Nothing too game breaking. As I also said earlier, the soundtrack of this game is incredible. Every score that plays feels right, the main theme is kick-ass, and the various tracks that play through combat add to the action, and they got me pumped. The calmer tracks, such as the Indian ones that play when you climb through the trees in the frontier are brilliant. It creates an authentic feel. Voice acting is also very good. I was hard pressed to find any bad actors. Even Connor, who I don't care much for, had a good voice actor. There was no Americans impersonating an English accent that ended up like Keanu Reeves in that Dracula film.
Of course, sir. I'll attend to the Count. Thank you for your confidence. If I may inquire, what in fact happened to Mr. Renfield in Transylvania? We can be married when I return.
I know where the bastard sleeps. I brought him there. To Carfax Abbey.
And no British voice actors sounding like a retarded hillbilly. The voice acting was superb. The game, however, is very flawed. The storyline is very boring for the first half, and some quests felt pointless, and the ending is absolutely shit. It's basically Mass Effect 3 all over again. Random, abrupt, and stupid. Brace yourself for disappointment. The horses are also ridiculously glitchy, and I found myself swearing out loud at my TV several times just because they wouldn't go faster, or, the most common problem, them getting stuck on a f***ing pebble. The other most major flaw is the side quest. They're so boring and pointless. Unless you have loads of time on your hands and you're a diehard Assassin's Creed fan, you'll hate them. My advice, don't bother them, because you'll get something like, oh, a new painting in the manor. Yes, but how does that help me? It doesn't. Don't waste your time with them. This game feels like it's trying to be a sandbox game, and it fails hard there. The only type of side mission I liked was the naval battles. They are seriously cool. Steering your ship whilst commanding the crew when to fire the cannons is seriously addicting. There's also lots of places to explore when it comes to the optional naval levels, but again, they don't really contribute much to the main story, so it ends up just feeling like pointless filler. And there is a lot of that in Assassin's Creed 3, but the naval levels are at least very fun and addicting for a while. In conclusion, Assassin's Creed 3 is a mixed bag game delivering a fun combat system with a decent in-anima story, whilst Desmond's story makes a sour and shit end. But it also tries to appeal to a lot of you fans by keeping you playing as long as possible by bombarding you with side quests at every turn. These would be impressive if they had relevance and weren't a total waste of time. For all this, I'm going to give Assassin's Creed 3 a 7 out of 10. Fun, but not very replayable.